Perfect. That's perfect. I feel like, you know what? You said you haven't done a podcast before. I feel like you have.
No, it's
like you're all professional. Like the arms out. Like it's, the shot's professional. Like you got a tea ready. Everything's like good to go.
You know, because I'm just relaxed. Because it's you.
It's me.
Yeah, it's you. It's just I'm relaxed. You're right. It's relaxing.
Yeah. Do you know what? I feel like I bring. I don't want to like big myself up that much, but I feel like I bring relaxed vibes. I feel like that's my thing.
Yeah, you just bring yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like inner peace.
It is. Yeah.
And I like people as well. But do you know what's weird? Yeah, I feel like we're living in ages where everyone's just so stressed about stuff, and there's all these things going on in the background. And even though I understand it, like I've been there before myself, but sometimes I look back at it and I love the transition that I've made. Like not being bothered by like a lot of different things that would have fazed me before. And I'm just like, it's not that big of a deal. So some people assume that I don't care about things at all. They think I don't care. It's not that. It's just I deal with it in a peaceful sort of way. Sorry. What are you doing? Huh? No, it's on. I just pressed the red so you can't hear it. Sorry, 1 second.
Yeah.
Huh? Red stops the recording. It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't pick up on the thing, but it doesn't stop it recording. It still records. Just try it anyways, yeah? Hold on. Why is it? Sorry about that. It's the wrong one. Yeah. That's it. That's better now, right?
Yeah, it was. I think it was fine before.
No, there was like a psh kind of sound, anyways.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
But anyways, let's get into it. So,
can I respond to what you said?
Oh yeah, go on. Yeah, of course.
You know, I was gonna. When you said that people, everyone's kind of caught up in stresses of the world, stresses of life, and we can't. The thing is, we can't avoid stress, but maybe we need to change the way that we look at stress, because that word itself, stress. Think about it. We associate it with certain feelings, you know, oh, it's tense, it's tough, I can't handle stuff. Maybe we need to change it, and because that's how I've started to handle issues and things in my life, is that because we can't avoid stressful situations, but we can avoid we can change the way that we handle it when we look at it. So, with a lot of things, I think, you know, I always say, and I've heard this thing before, once you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Yeah. So I think and that's something that we need to do together. When you notice that you're with somebody that's always feeding into the stress, and soon as that stressful situation happens, they shut down and they freeze. It's like that freeze, fight. The 3 Fs. Yeah. Freeze, fight, flight. Yeah. So kind of look at that's what stress is, isn't it? When an animal's in a situation as a predator, it's a stressful situation. So in that moment, they have to make a decision. Same as a person. We find ourselves in a stressful situation. We have to make a decision. Do we do something about it? Do we freeze and do nothing? You know, do we fight back? What do we do? Yeah. So, and I just think that does take communication and speaking with each other and maybe helping each other how to handle stressful situations, because life's not going to, I don't know, is it meant to be easy or not? You know, but if we rely on always feeling good to get things done, half the time things won't happen. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, so would you say like stress is an indicator of something that people need to address, or something that, so it's like a survival, it's an indicator of survival?
Yeah, I think it's our own body and mind and spirit's way of communicating with us with stop, think, listen, how are you going to handle this situation? Stuff is coming on board now. What are you going to do about it? You know, I think we need to have that. If we don't become complacent, you know, imagine if that was to happen, you'd be doing 200 miles down the motorway. You know, you'd run across the road without looking. You have to have an element of it has to be a little bit stressful, something. You know, otherwise we wouldn't do anything. But just how to handle it, and like I said, look at that word a little differently. You know, people just say, I'm stressed, instead of, do you know what, there's a lot going on now. I need to pause for a moment. Let's reprioritize. What do I need to do first? What can wait? You know, who do I need to talk to because I need some help doing something, rather than take everything on board. And that's how I've been learning how to handle things that are becoming stressful. Because what I found in COVID was, it actually was a very amazing time for myself, because I literally, it shifted my whole world around.
You got to slow down.
And it slowed down so much to the point where coming back out of lockdown was like a tsunami of like, whoa, what is this thing? These are people, they're everywhere, they're all talking to me. I've got work coming on board. What is going on here? You know, so I had to learn how to, and it wasn't anything extra. This is what life was like before COVID when we had nothing to do. So I'm like, what am I going to do about it, Star? You know, what do we do here? So yeah, I just had to, I changed, I've just, every time I come across something that I'm not 100% sure about, I pause. Instead of reacting, I pause, have a think about it, and then make a decision.
Because when you slow down, you can make better decisions
absolutely.
as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
What do you do? So you said that sometimes like life is not meant to be easy, and I was kind of relating that to Muay Thai. We'll get into Muay Thai as well in a bit, but what do you think about people that come to one session and then they give up and never come back?
I always say at the end of every session, and I always acknowledge the people when it's their first time. I'm like, to the people, it's your first time, you made it to the end. And that's all I ever wanted, you just to make it to the end. And I tell them it's not meant to be easy. Don't compare yourself to other people. You know, compare yourself to who you were yesterday. That's for all of us, you know. And most of them come back, but if they are someone that it's a little bit too intimidating, they feel the pressure of needing to compete, I always just try to address that and just, you know what, you just need to continue, keep trying again. You don't have to be all the way, you know, at the top here. Just look at where you are. I'm going to do a little bit, step by step, you know, because, like I said, it's not, but life isn't easy.
But do you feel like that's, but at the end of the day, I'm a little bit heartless when it comes to that. I like when people don't come back. No, seriously, I like when people don't come back, because coming back is a decision.
Absolutely.
So, and to me, what that represents is that they're not making a decision to potentially change their life. Because if they can't come back and do another session, you know, maybe it's not for them. You know, people like different things in life, but most of the time when they don't come back, I know that they'll do the same thing in their life, in another area of their life. Something will get really difficult, it will get challenging, and they'll just quit on it and just, you won't see them again.
No, I 100% agree with you there. What I meant by that is I will give acknowledgement to them that they made it to the end. Again, it is a choice, because some won't come back. But I always do, that's why I'm always comparing the classes, what we are doing the session, to life. Because life is like a fight. It literally is, regardless of there being ropes around, you know. And it teaches you how to handle emotions when you're doing any type of combat sport, you know, because you get angry. No one really likes being punched in the face or kicked. No one really likes it. But it teaches you how to protect yourself and defend a little bit better. It teaches you how to condition your mind and your body to receiving pain. And that's like in life, you know. Things aren't going to be nice. You're going to get rejected. You're going to get hurt. Yeah, you're not going to like it. But you've got to make a different decision next time if you want to avoid it. You have to learn how to handle it, you know. So, but I always, and again, so at the end of every session, as you know, Lee, you've been there, and I have that tiny little bit of a PD record, a little bit of a talk. And I like to talk about, I will generally talk about a principle, something for maybe a month, so people can, it's an opportunity for them to apply that somewhere in their life, maybe in their training, but just to help develop them as people, you know. And I bring it back to, because we've all got a bit of ego. We've all got it. Yeah. And when you make people think that, just for yourself, because you're not comparing yourself against anyone else, it's yourself, You were you better last time? Were you better this time? Where do you want to be next year? And then it makes them feel like, okay. Accountability, I think. That's what I try to bring into the class, make you accountable for the choices that you're making. If you're lazy, laziness is contagious. Don't be that person that makes other people lazy. Don't be that person that allows your friends, your family, whatever the relationships that you have in life, don't be the person that you allow people to make mistakes and you don't make them accountable. And then it brings it back to, no, I'm not like that. Yeah, I'm going to be better than that. I'm not that kind of person. I'm the one that everyone wants to, be that person that people want to train with, be that person that pushes people so hard that they look at you and go, I can't stand you, man. I can't stand you. You're harsh, but I'm coming back for you next time. Yeah? So be that. And that does play to people's ego a little bit, because they want to be that person.
Yeah, I mean, mindset's really important, and it's kind of like what you said. I was saying this to you earlier. Like, I've really taken Muay Thai on board in terms of applying it to life in general. And I've taken it like in two different ways. Number one is that I believe that when I was able to change how I train, so when Daniel used to be like, oh, do 10 push-ups, I used to do that at 9, yeah? And I used to cheat, but what I realized, I was cheating on myself, not Daniel. And then over time, I realized I was like, hold on, where else am I doing this? I'm doing this outside the gym as well. Sometimes I would cheat on particular things that I'm doing. Maybe, I don't know, I had like exams or something, whatever. I cheat a little bit. And over time, when I've changed on how I was training, when Daniel used to be like, do 10 press-ups and I'm doing 11, I was applying the same thing in real life, and I was pushing forward with that. And then the other thing as well, the resilience part is like what you were saying, is like I seen life as life is trying to chop me down with low kicks or like trying to knock me out.
Yep.
But then with training in itself, it's like eventually we get better the more we fight. And it's like the more we fight life, the better we become at being resilient towards the challenges. So yeah, I can really resonate with that.
No, absolutely. It's like a fight IQ, life IQ almost. And the more you build on your arsenal of ways to handle situations, you can deflect something. It's like you can parry it, or you can, block it like head on. Sometimes you have to face, you can't walk away. Not every situation we can walk away from. Sometimes we have to handle confrontation, and that's like a toe-to-toe. You're fighting, you're in the clinch, or you're banging out punches and kicks with each other. That's exactly like that. And the same thing I say to people, don't cheat. Yeah, if I'm asking you to do 20 burpees, did you? And I watch people. The thing is, I don't think I'm watching. I know. In my head, I'm looking at those particular people, and I'm saying, no one else is paying it. Nobody else cares whether you do 18 or 30 press-ups. They're doing their own, but and that's how you're going to be in life. But then the people I notice who are doing more, so what ends up happening, I go, do you know what? I want you working with. I bring them up. I said, I saw you. I noticed. I let them know. I noticed that you were pushing, that you were doing more than I asked. So they get that acknowledgement and they continue that. Yeah. But it's a mindset. Muay Thai is a lifestyle for me. That's why it literally is a lifestyle. It's not, people look on the outside, people are just getting in there, punching, kicking, banging it out. Like with any martial arts, the mindset a martial artist has is a very, very different one. And it means you have the ability to control. You can control your power and your emotions. You have no need to prove anything. You know what you can do. Yeah. But that's, again, with anything in life, you don't need to, So it's I think that element of control, that is the most important thing that I see. Like I see people come in, and when they talk to me about what they're going through, in life, and they're like, you know what, thank you for that. Thank you for that little talk. Thank you for pushing me, because they apply it to somewhere in life, and then they bring that story back to me, and they go, and they say, thank you, because of that session, because of you pushing me, and my ability to do it myself, because I don't get there and make someone, I'm not going to push them down 10 times. You do it yourself. I'm teaching you how to make yourself a warrior. A warrior of life. And then outside, and they're like, thank you. Like, I did it. I finally had the courage to do it. Or I finally had the courage to take an insult, and I didn't get angry, because that's a big thing too. We don't like nobody likes being,
I think people that usually fight, so now I'm not saying it's the scenario all the time, but people that usually fight are the people that haven't learned how to fight in a controlled environment. Because I remember the times when I got to the point where I could probably like knock out a lot of people on the streets or in street fights or whatever. And at the end of the day, no one's untouchable. Probably I could have got the same treatment too. But the point is that when I realized I can fight, I didn't want to engage with those situations, because I knew how dangerous it is. To the point where potentially I could have killed someone. And I remember one time I got into this altercation that was, maybe I could have avoided it. I think there's always different routes. But I was very conscious of like punching this person. And I was thinking, if I punch him, I could potentially kill him. Yeah. Because it is quite lethal. And so what I ended up doing, I ended up slapping him instead. It was like a really hard slap, but I was just like, that's I'm not condoning it, but that was a better solution than me trying to punch him. So, but yeah.
That's what, the thing is, there is always going to be a situation. It doesn't mean it's going to end up with a physical altercation. It could be verbal. It could be anything. Maybe you end up behaving in a way that doesn't really reflect who you are, but in the moment, that's how you are feeling. And I think we need to be okay with things like that. Just, it happened. It happened. It wasn't the greatest choice. The next time it won't happen again. But just like when people are sparring, I always ask people, okay, so when you're sparring and people are going too hard. It's up to you to tell your partner, do you know what, it's a little bit too hard.
Yeah.
Because we want to blah, they did, but you be accountable. Say, do you know what, I'm going to communicate that to you first, because sometimes we don't know our own behaviours, and it takes somebody else to communicate that. And that way because you've got people of all different sizes that come.
But you know, some people actually take the piss though. Like I've seen people who, like, they know they've got skills, right? And they know they're sparring someone that's got less ability than them, and they would take advantage of it. And it's almost like, but you know what it is? I don't necessarily blame them. I do blame them and I don't, because they need to take responsibility for it. But I can see that there's another reason for why they do it. You know, like maybe they're not 100% to the point where like they've dealt with their emotions and they're taking it out on that person or whatever it is. But I've seen it before, and it's just they're not helping the other person. But it does happen. It does happen.
You get a whole spectrum of personalities.
That's why it's so beautiful.
And that's what it's about, though. Learning about yourself and how you handle situations, because there's always going to be someone that's going to, it doesn't matter, you could be in that ring smashing everybody up, somebody's going to walk in the door that one day and maybe or one of those people you were smashing up in the ring, they're going to end up giving you one shot that's going to humble you.
You know what, I watch those people closely, the people that are like beating people up on purpose, and when I pair up with them, those are the people I try to beat up myself.
That's how it should. That's how it should.
And then they'll be like, "Oh, can you power down? Can you power down?" I'm like, "What about the other person?"
That's exactly it. And I've done that before. I've seen someone. I've told them, "Listen, power down." They don't want to. They keep bullying, and I'm like, "You know what? Okay, now you get in the ring with." I put them in with the more intermediate people. Then come on, then you behave like that in the ring, and then But that is just down to, as well, people learning. You won't really, I know occasionally you might get that from an experienced person, but very rarely. Usually it's just somebody who's very strong and maybe they've been to another place where that was okay and everyone just smashed everybody up. But that's obviously not what it's not what it's about here, but also it doesn't teach. It's not helping the other person. Go out, I always say on the bag, go at it 100%. But when you're with each other, we're trying to help each other grow. You're trying to teach. Not allow, still tag people, let them know. But do it, it's communication. But that's like in life, communication. It's all about communication.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And I think for me personally, like, middle ground is the best. So, and I don't try to go too easy, or like, I don't try to make it too easy for them, because I still want them to learn. I don't make it too difficult. So I just give them the middle ground where they can still learn and also be uncomfortable at the same time, to understand that, hey, like, this is serious at the same time.
Well, it's a martial art at the end of the day, and I say that to people. This is not the sport you're going to come to if you think, okay, you're not going to get hit, okay? And if you think that you're just going to use power, go back out on this, this is not the place for you. You can go down the road, you can see pub brawls all the time.
It's true,
I'm not interested. I say to students, I'm not interested in how much power you can use. That doesn't interest me. I'm here to teach you an art, okay? There's a skill. I'm teaching you how to use your body as a weapon. So I don't want you going out there, if you've got no control, using your body as a weapon, because now it's an illegal weapon if it's outside and you just going out doing it for the sake of showing that, I do whatever sport. But it does take time to teach people that, and sometimes there are people that I haven't let them spar for a while. Because every time I do, and so that's my little sanction then. You're not sparring again. Get out. No, stay on the bag. You're just doing drills now. Why? Because you can't show me power. You use power. Like there's an order of things. Technical application, okay? Then you have your accuracy. Then you have your speed. Then you have your power. And I reinforce that over and over again. Power is on the bag, okay? The speed and a little bit of power is with your sparring partner, but first focus on your technical application. That's literally with anything in life. Focus on your art, whatever you're doing. Then you want to be able to apply it accurately, because it's no point. What's the point in being, like a Formula One driver, and then you start driving, in the ocean? It's pointless. You know what I mean? Be with your art, be accurate with, and so like I'm saying, if you're good with your kick now, don't just kick now. Where do you kick? Show me how you do that kick. Now that's accurate. You've mastered your application of that technique. It's your hips turning lovely. Show me where the target is. Okay, now that's good. Now let's do it a little bit faster. Great. Now you're going to use it with power in the bag. So they understand that control and how to use that part of that technique. But again, there's something, whatever I teach, I do that in life. Whenever I'm learning something new or I'm in a new situation, or even with new people, I'm going to learn how to interact with them. Just, try and check you out. Okay, now I'm going to apply, do things a little bit more accurately, and the speed and the power, not necessary, if you know what I mean, but I try to do things in a little bit of an order, so I'm getting things right, doing it right, and then I go all out and I'm going to go in for the kill as such, But if people, like I said, people come in, they're like, it's a hard sport, I just want to smash everything out.
Yeah.
And you can't do that in life. You can't get in a car and drive, you don't have a license, but you think you're going to get in a Lamborghini, I don't know, whatever.
That's the thing. Some people live like that. They think they can do everything until life shows them no.
There's consequences. There are always consequences, regardless. And it's not even so I'm not talking from a moral issue, but whatever we do, because some things, or a judgmental perspective, what I might think is right, you may not, and vice versa. So we're not talking about that, but you have to understand whatever choice we make, there is always a consequence.
And some consequences are delayed as well. They don't come instantly. It might come 2, 3, 4 years later. Yeah, some of them are delayed. Do you know what? Just on the mindset thing, I always find it funny when I see newcomers and they're trying to be perfect straight away. They get like this, you've seen this energy of like they do something wrong and they're like, oh, how did I do that wrong? And then they're really like nervous or like anxious about it. And I'm just like, listen, just take your time. Like it's a sport of like constant drilling. It's like you're gonna have to do this like hundreds or millions of times to get it perfect. And they get like 1 day, 2 days, they just wanna like do it perfectly. It doesn't work like that.
You know what? That speaks for society now. People want results with no effort. They don't want the journey. Yeah. Because everything's instant gratification, you can click a finger and you've got I know we're kind of slightly going off topic, but I'm bringing it back to that. I just think that's how people are nowadays. They walk in, they think everything should be perfect because normally they can click a button and they can have everything done for them. People don't even need to know how to spell anymore. You've got to autocorrect. So they walk in, I'm like, this takes time. You think you're going to master, even a press up, even one punch, you think you're going to be good at that now? No, man, it takes time.
Even years later, there's still like different methods and techniques.
People get frustrated too quickly.
Yeah.
They do. They want results now. They don't want the effort. They don't want, and it's not, to learn how to do a very, let's say it's close to a perfect punch, you need to have been punched many, many times in your face before that happens. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to take some to give some.
You have to learn how to take it. People forget that bit too. They're like, I'm going to learn how to do this. Yeah, but are you willing to? Like I said, I've got people, they've asked me, why can't I spar? I'm like, do you know how, but I know how to punch and kick. Do you know how to block from it first? All right. Yes, you do. Show me. They can't. I'm like, well, then you can't. I can't let you, spar unless you know how to defend from the attacks you're throwing. Like I said, people do this all the time. They're willing to do things, and when somebody does something back, they're not happy to receive it. I think that's, again, with a martial arts mindset, you're willing, you're able to receive and to understand that, okay, I'm going to give it out, I've got to take it back. So you can take that anywhere in life. Yeah. Someone saying an insult, someone rejecting you, I'm not saying it's nice, but you're like, it's cool. It is what it is.
So we've established that rejection, we start calling it something different now. We call it redirection.
Rejection
is just a redirection to something else. Yeah.
True.
And I think it comes with a little bit of, there's a little bit of like empowerment. It's like, hold on, I didn't get rejected. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm just being redirected to something that's for me.
Yes, absolutely. Maybe I wasn't ready. Sometimes you might need to try again. Maybe I'm just not ready. I wasn't prepared enough.
Yeah, or maybe it's redirection to improve on something.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
People take that as like, I'm back. That's it. Full stop. No. Yeah. It's not.
That's just the start. Like said, that should be the start. Rejection or / redirection. That should be the beginning point.
That's like, they have nowadays in schools in some schools, maybe not all, where there's no winner. It's a participation medal.
Participation medals, yeah.
I definitely do not agree with this.
Yeah, same.
And we're creating a very, very soft society, and this is the problem. And so when people walk into any martial arts academy, it's not soft in there. Nothing is soft. You can't go get your water. You can't just go walk off. You want to have it's not for you, go. Yeah.
I've got a funny quote for you on that, on that soft society part, And you know what? I had a debate with someone the other day. I had a debate with my friend, and And the debate was like, she wasn't agreeing with this. She was saying, oh, people should actually like not take responsibility. People shouldn't say stuff. But basically the quote is this, announcing in brackets that I am offended is basically telling the world you can't control your own emotions, so everyone else should do it for you.
No, I 100% agree with you on that. We should. Freedom of speech. Why can I not speak how I feel? I would prefer that you slated me, cussed me out, then smiled and went over there and told somebody something that I wasn't doing right, that how I did something that offended you. Tell me and let's talk about it. We can't resolve the issue. Fine, we're adults, we move on. You know, no, society now is way too soft.
And then what it does, like instead of people saying it and people not be able to like manage what someone else said, those people that were saying it, you'll just keep it inside, and that's not healthy either.
No,
so
that's
it doesn't,
speech.
it doesn't, and it doesn't create an environment where people can challenge each other. And I think, you know what? I think disagreements are, if it's not like done intentionally, if it's done like as in like I don't agree with what someone else is saying, I think disagreements are great for learning.
Yes,
there's something that both parties can learn if they're open to it.
Yes. No, 100%. Like I said, again, down to the communication and feeling that you're able to speak. You know, I'm not talking about going out there and shouting at people and using, you know, language, foul language, but just saying something, you know, and sharing, because we all have different viewpoints.
Of course. And I think that's what makes life beautiful.
Exactly. We'd all be robots otherwise.
If someone, you know what, because there are times when I'm like, oh, I wish they saw it like me. But then actually, at the end of the day, I don't want everyone to see things like me, because that would make it so boring.
No.
Yeah.
It definitely would.
Well, listen, Star. You've been doing Muay Thai, what you said, 17 years?
Since 2006.
So, you know, I wanted to ask, because obviously I haven't spoken to you about this in person. Like, what was the actual journey with Muay Thai? So, did you start as a participant and slowly?
Yeah. So, and it was just a very, very random thing. I hadn't done any martial art before. I'd always been into sports. I swam for many years in Australia.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was a state swimmer. You call it a county swimmer. So I did that up until the age of 15. But then after that, I'd always done sport. I'd loved being active. However, I wanted to do a martial art just out of the blue. Just thought, you know what? I feel like I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I went to a martial arts store, and on the board, remember those little boards they'd have, and people would leave their cards. And where I am in Tottenham, they had that up there, and it just happened to be at a time that I was free. I went in there, and I never looked back. And the reason I never looked back is because it pushed me. Had pushed me to the point I wanted to throw up.
Yeah, that was the first session.
That was my first session.
Yeah.
It was so hard, and I like being challenged. That gets me. That's what I do, and I'm coming back because I can't skip. I couldn't skip at that point. I can't. There are a lot of I can'ts that I wanted to say I cans. So that's why I came back.
Can I just say something on that? Yeah, I feel like, and this is where I'm taking it back to. Some people don't ever come back. Yeah, and I feel like this is why mindset is so important, because it starts with mindset.
Yes.
Like if you had a mindset of like, I can't do this and I'm not gonna try no more and I'm giving up, you wouldn't have been back there.
I wouldn't have.
And then it's so crazy because, in a weird way, I know it's not selfish intentionally, but because you're such an amazing person, such an amazing coach now, it's almost like that gift would have never developed, and you would have never given that back to other people.
Yeah.
If your mindset was like, oh, I'm not going to do this. So I feel like sometimes people forget that it's not just about them. Sometimes making a decision can also affect and
very, very true,
and include other people in a positive way as well.
And I never knew I was going to end up coaching. I was a student until 2010, so for 4 years. And what it was is I had 6 fights, and at that point then, well, an opportunity came up to step on board and take on a teaching role with Ajahn. But I thought, right, do I continue to fight, or it was either or either. And I looked at the longevity and thought, you know what, it would be great to fight, but career-wise, and my kids were still very young. I didn't have the time to put into that type of fight training that was required as you move up. But there's a teaching opportunity here. Not a lot of pay, it's just a little bit of pocket money right now. But there's an opportunity to make now. This is, I was looking ahead 10 years. Looking around me, I want to teach. So that's then how I made that change, and that's how I've been there ever since now. Yeah,
no, that's beautiful. And where do your philosophies come from? Obviously, I'm guessing some of it's life, like
It is life, people. Sometimes it's like little quotes and reading and books. It's a whole lot of and I kind of merge them and put them together for myself. But it also depends on the stage I'm at in my life, because what suits me now didn't suit me 5 years ago. What suits me, so they continually change. You know, even when someone asks, you know, what's your favorite this, or what is this, you know, this is for now, but it may not have been last year, and it probably won't be next year, even down to the little color thing that I said. And there's a reason. And so red is now my favorite color. You asked me that 5 years ago. Red's makes me kind of angry. I get agitated. I don't feel calm. But what my journey has been recently is focusing on mastering myself, mastering my mind, body, and spirit. With that, it means it's a lot of destruction. So that word sometimes, what do you mean destruction? It means I'm destroying everything in my life. I don't mean physically, but it no longer serves me. Mindsets, weaknesses, okay? And through that, it's a transformation, and from that, I move on into mastering. So now those weaknesses that once were, I've turned them and now I've mastered them, or I've even been able to turn them into a strength. So I'm like, and I did little things like that. I would look at things in my life that would trigger me. Why does it trigger you? So it's a lot of accountability, a lot of self-analysis, and it makes me angry. Well, what's the problem in being angry? I literally, I sit there having conversations with myself like a crazy, like, you know, like it's, but but it's okay to be angry. Why? And then I'd think, well, yeah, I'm angry because maybe I'll do this. Well, maybe you need to learn to control that, because that surge of energy, that power, it's a very powerful energy, anger. If you can harness it and use it productively in a way. So now I'm making so that now I look at red and I feel powerful. Doesn't make me angry, but I feel in charge and powerful. It's a warrior, like a warrior. So when I'm teaching, I think of everything being in red. It's powerful.
Do you know what? Do you know what I love about you teaching as well? So that's one of the things you inspired me to do as well. So when I coach, sometimes you do everything that you say that you ask your students to do.
Yes.
And I think that's, you know, actually someone just mentioned that to me the other day. Someone, I think he just started coming in recently, and I said, how was the session? And he goes, yeah, it was amazing, and started done everything with us. And I think that's, you're not just coaching, you're also leading by example. And they're thinking, because for them, they're probably watching like, oh, you're just telling me what to do.
Yeah.
And then when they're doing it with them, they go like, hold on, she's doing it as well. So there's a big difference. It makes a big difference.
I think it's very, very important, because I know for myself, if you're going to teach me something, I want to know that you can do it. You know, at least I get my little fitness in there too. But it is very important, because me just shouting it out isn't the same as me guiding them. You know, and I think that is for everything. When you're teaching somebody something, show them. I learn visually. So because sometimes, especially where you've got people that have the language barrier, just shouting out something, I've noticed. So I've learned, you know, if I do it, they can see what I'm doing. Everything too. Whatever you know, at the end, those little lessons at the end I speak about, I'm doing in my life every day. My life is, it's a constant working progress. There's always little dips, then there's up again. But I try to find whatever's holding me back. I do focus on, okay, what is my game plan now? How am I going to work around it? It's literally, someone's just kicked me, teeped me. I'm on the floor. What am I going to do? I'm going to stand up? Am I going to say, actually, it's a little bit too hard? You know, or am I going to just get up, take it off, and learn to defend it? So again, it's just exactly like that. I'm forever trying to work on to like overall I'm mastering, but my emotions and then spirit and body.
Do you know what's interesting as well? I feel like, I don't know if you're aware of this as well, I feel like you might even have a teaching lens which is very different to like learning lens. So what I mean by that, so for instance, like you do your talks at the end of the session, and I think they're really powerful. And because you do those talks, it's like when you come across material like quotes or someone else saying stuff, you're taking it in differently. You're taking it in a way where you can, you're inspired by the world, but you also want to inspire the world at the same time. So like, it's the thing of like, I always say this, like if I was to read a book, just to read a book, I'll read it in a certain way. But if I was to read a book to teach it, I'm going to read it differently. So the lens changes.
Yes, it absolutely does, because knowledge without application is wasted. You can read 1 million books, but if you don't apply the lessons that you've learned from that book, then it's wasted. What's the point?
Yeah.
You know, that's how I see it. And I really, when I see students come in, what I want from them, it's not important if they become fighters. It was great if they is. I hope that when they leave, that they feel more confident, strong within themselves, that they can battle outside. So I'm training warriors. That's how I look at it in my head.
Yeah.
I've got some warriors there. I've got
life warriors.
Yeah, that's exactly how it literally all the time, and they can't. So that's why when they're not, I push them to that point where pain. I always say that it's pain. There's a battle going on with your mind and your body. Yeah, only one can win. There can only ever be one winner. Your body's telling you can't do anymore, but your mind. You control, you master your mind, you master your reality. Yeah. Your mind can do anything. And, you know, look, all I'm asking you to do is that, but you look at people who've been into war or in the army compared to doing a training session. That ain't no pain what we're going through.
Yeah, of course.
You know, doing like 50 squats, that's nothing, man. You know, your legs are caving in. I know they're like jelly. Yeah. Breathe, focus on it, and focus on the purpose of it too. Understand the pain you're going through is why are you going through this pain right now? I want to get stronger. That's what I'm doing. I want to get fitter.
And then also they can learn the limits too. Like what are the limits? Because I feel like what they think the limit is and what it really is are two separate things. You know, sometimes they'll be like, oh, I'm so done, but they can definitely do one more. Do you know what? I got this from David Goggins.
Yeah.
Yeah. So David Goggins, he does this thing of like, he's like one more. After one more, it's like one more, and then one more, and that one more can be going on for such a long time. Yes,
he's good. I've watched some of his stuff, absolutely, and he's got that warrior, that you know, that mindset too, like a beast mode.
Yeah, no, definitely. There's a couple of times I went to the gym, and I was like I'm gonna channel my inner Goggins. So I'm doing an exercise. Obviously, so the last like 2-3 years I've been on and off gym. So I fell out with martial arts. I'll get onto that in a second, anyways. But I stopped doing martial arts. So for the last 2-3 years, I was just kind of doing gym on and off. And when I was like pushing weight sometimes or like doing pull-ups, whatever, I said, what would David Goggins do right now? So I'm doing extra because I'm remembering that. So he played a vital part in me, like pushing, you know, past my limits. But this year, this might not be super relevant, but this year, what I realized is that because I haven't done martial arts for 2 to 3 years, I've kind of lost myself. I lost a part of myself. And this year I just woke up. I was like, what's going on? Why am I not doing it? So like you, I had a conversation with myself, and I started doing it like since like a week ago. I've gone back into it. So now I'm just doing everything plus more. You know, I'm doing Muay Thai, I'm doing boxing, I'm learning jiu-jitsu now, I'm doing wrestling, I'm doing MMA. And I'm just like, hold on, like, what was I doing for the last 2-3 years? Why did I stop doing this? And I'm just, it's been such a wake-up call.
It is, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know, absolutely. I think, you know, just any type, something physical sports, obviously I'm going to be biased with combat sports and then even more biased when it comes to Muay Thai. But that's just when you said David Goggins, Ajahn, Vinny, before, he was a massive, so how he always taught you, you know, trained us was literally like, you know, fighters, you know, warriors on the battlefield.
Do you know what's interesting? So I met him a couple of times, but I feel like I got to know him through you and Daniel. Yeah. Because that's something that he passed on. And obviously, you know, when someone passes something on, there'll be a bit of like that raw sort of mindset that's passed on, and there'll be versions of like people will take and adapt it to themselves. But I've got to experience him through you guys, which is beautiful.
And you know what's interesting about that too? So because I've had, you know, when I came to Fight for Peace, obviously I was working alongside Daniel, and Daniel, you know, just his stature is massive. He can command just a move, and everyone's. I had to learn how to do it very differently because obviously I'm half that size, you know, and that was in the beginning. I'm like, can I do it? And that's where I'd have to battle with my own like confidence. Of course you can do it. Yeah, you can. Doesn't, you know, this is the physical of size is external. Yeah. That comes from within what you're able to, the energy that you can command and project. So that's something that I have confidence within that. But in the beginning, it was like, these two, like up here and me little here, but I can, you know. So that was an interesting part of my transition from being a student to a coach, to teaching that can I command that same thing, you know.
People got different ways of doing it.
Yeah.
And like I think you're right. And I think there's also an element of, you know, I say this all the time, I'm a fan of saying it takes two sides to build a bridge, you know, how people receive us and what people portray. But there's also an element of, you know, people will assume that because one person's this size and the other person's that size, there's something. But it's like I said, it's what's on it, what's on the inside as well. You know what's interesting about the thing, it's not interesting, but the thing with Daniel as well, yeah, I used to notice this thing, and this is where, this might not be, this is very off topic, but I'm just going to bring this to the space. I think it's useful to share. So this is when I realized, like, there's subtle parts of racism that takes place, yeah. Because I remember people used to refer to Daniel as this big black guy. They used to call him the big black guy. I'd be like, they go like, oh, that coach is so, I said, what coach? And they go, the big black guy. But then I realized, like, when there was like a big white guy, they wouldn't say big white guy, they would say the big guy.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I noticed those small little things, and I was like, hold on, there's something there around it.
Making the assumption,
Yeah. So yeah, there was, because
I've heard that people would always refer to, if they didn't know his name, that's exactly how they'd refer when they tried to. Do you remember the big black guy?
But that's the thing. But when but this is the thing. This is the interesting part. So when they would see a big white guy, they wouldn't say, "Do you see that big white guy?" They would say, "Do you see that big guy?" Yeah, and that's
funny. Yeah.
So what's the color got to do with it? Because they could have said that big guy, like, you know what I'm saying?
If they equally had said both, yes. But outside of that, just referring so you could understand, you're trying to, somebody and your, whether it's a hair color, their skin color, that's not necessarily a racist comment. But if you are doing only one and not the other, that's interesting.
And that's I noticed it with the people that were doing one and not, there wasn't that many people, so I'm not gonna like take out context. Say loads of people done it, but I noticed a couple of people do it. Yeah. So that's why I was like, that's interesting. Like, what's that about? And I'm not saying they're racist or anything like that, but there was something there behind it, something maybe societal or whatever that's taking place. Because I noticed these small little things that people like say and I pay attention to it and stuff like that.
Yeah. There's a lot of things in society that we overlook because they've just been accepted and as the norm. Yeah.
But I'm here to challenge it. I'm here to challenge a lot of different things within society now. I feel like I'm ready to do that. Like, whether it's through this, whether it's through conversation outside of this. And I was on standby for a little while. I was trying to figure out how everything works and what society we're living in. But yeah, I feel like I got there now. Well, listen, we didn't even get to ask you, how do you get a feeling of importance, and what's the one thing that people should know about you?
Yeah, that's right. I remember that question. So, responsibility makes me feel important. But that's not responsibility of external. So it's not other people giving me responsibility, it's myself. When I give myself responsibility to be accountable, I give myself responsibility to make choices and decisions. That makes me feel important. Other people, it's neither here, neither there, but it's my ability to take ownership back in my life. And I feel I'm responsible and I'm doing it. And I feel important. So I make myself feel important because it doesn't matter what anybody else, at the end of the day, people could say whatever they want about me, however nice, but if I'm feeling shit and I feel like, I'm placing my, everything in the hands of something else. I don't feel important. Nobody makes me, I make myself feel important.
Just on that, like people always complain about like being not healthy. Do you know what? So I believe that if I'm not good here, everything else is
absolutely
is bad. And it's the reality. When people get like ill or they're unhealthy or they're not able to like get out of bed and all of that stuff, nothing else really matters at that point. Nothing else really matters, and they can't do any of that. So I feel like I find it funny when people get caught up with this, like, how would I call it? I don't know, just sort of like, they go like, this, everything's shit, everything's this, but they're healthy in a way and they can still change things around.
People love excuses. Look at the countries right now that are going through whatever issue they're going through, war, so forth. People in the Western society, we're the most privileged society that's about, and we complain. We have no reason really to be, you're ill, okay, you're ill. Back in the day, hundreds of years, if you were ill, you still had to go and eat. We couldn't go online, and order something or go and see a doctor. You'd have to make yourself well. People, I just think we make too many excuses. You have to feel well. A lot of people focus on your physical health. You your mental health is very, very, very important. And without that, you can have your body can be in fully wonderful working order. But if you're feeling shit, but saying that you're feeling shit, you have to be able to, and I know that's not an easy thing to say, but for myself, because not the only one person that you're going to be with 24 hours a day for the rest of your life is you. I'm going to be with myself, and there might not, somebody's not always going to be with us in our times of need. So we have to learn to be able to draw upon our inner warrior, our inner healer, okay, to do those things for us. And yeah, it's great to have a good support network and good family and good friends, whatever that is, but you can't rely on them for everything. It's great to have them assist you and be there to support you and encourage you, but it has to come from within. And I think too much we rely on, like you've got social media where you've got 1 million followers. I don't have that many followers. You know what I mean? But I'm liked. It's all this false likehood. Everything's false. It's not real. So then then suddenly your account gets, no one likes you anymore. Your picture's not being liked. You feel like shit.
I think that just ties into social status, and I think obviously social status has been around before social media. So I think social media just became another platform that can give. I think social media itself serves different purposes, right? For some people, they want to get a work out there. Some people just want to have their own profile. Some people are, I don't know. There's a bunch of different things that people can do with it. I think it's just more of a tool rather than what it really is, and I think people utilize it in different ways. But there's one thing that I can relate to, and I'll put in a different way, which is, so one of the things that helps me like be more grateful and reminds me what's important is like losing people in my life, right? I'm not necessarily sad about it. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not. But when I look at, like, for example, Instagram, and then I had to unfollow those channels, like I think the Shadesborough or someone else, and they'll be posting things like, oh, this person's dating that person. And I'm thinking, what difference does that make? Like, I've lost people in my life. Like, that's more important, and that puts things in context. Like, who gives a shit who they're dating? It's not adding no value to my life anyways. I don't care.
Exactly that. And that's the problem with, yes, there's great, you can obviously source very good content, positive content on social media, and also a lot of junk, spam. It's just spam. That's what I call it, like that. But we are too much against society. It's searching for the answers externally. It does come from in here. We might need help, but that mindset, it's very, very important. And cutting off, like everybody, I do feel this, that everything serves a purpose for that moment in our lives. Okay, so, and we need to shed, like you're shedding skin, like you move house, like you change job, you lose people. It's not really, it's just at that moment in time, they served you then. And it's okay, move on. We are attached, we have too much attachment, or we're too afraid to feel hurt, so we don't want to let that person go. We feel guilty because they've really helped us out, and they've been around for such a long time, and we feel guilty. So we're afraid that we shouldn't be. If in this moment in time you no longer serve my purpose and my goal, my direction where I'm going, I have to let you go. It's part ways. We're adults, no hard feelings. But I think people, it's called the redirection. People are too afraid of the redirections, and we don't let go. Enough. I mean, look how good you feel when you clear out. You clear out your closet. Like you do that. Do you ever do that thing? I'm going to chuck away all those old clothes and that old junk. Because I hoard. I'm a terrible hoarder.
But you know what though? I think that's So I have a theory in this, right? I think that's a representation of a mental state sometimes, and I think the clearing up part. So like when I'm cleaning up, right? I feel like I'm also cleaning up my mind.
Yes.
Because I feel like whatever my physical representation of my place is at that time is what's going on in here too. Yeah. So when I start clearing up that, I was like, I'm clearing this out too.
Absolutely. Like when you think about it, when you're sick, right? You don't want to clean. I can't be bothered. I'm just going to leave the dishes. I'm feeling, you're in bed. So everything, but when you're feeling good again, so again, it is a reflection, and it's really important. But that's the same thing. I do that with my phone book. Every so often I'm like, I go through the numbers and spank to them and clear it out, because it's just all junk. Empty your on the message. Do that. You have to. I think it's really important. It's a transformation. You have to let go of the old to make room for the new.
But you know what though? I feel like we're someone who conquered the mind, right? And I feel like there's people who allow the mind to conquer them.
Yes.
And I think that's the journey of, talk about making warriors. And I think some people's, and this is because I was trying to figure out what's the difference. Why do people complain about particular things, and why is it to be like, oh, like I had an argument with my friend, and it's like they make up these big scenes about something that's not even that meaningful, and I think that's what it is. I think because it's their mind that's conquering them, rather than the other way around. Because I'm like, you know what, I conquered my mind. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect. Sometimes I feel like that too, and you know that's the human experience. But most of the time, I'm like, you know what, I'm conquering my mind. My mind's not going to tell me to create a situation or drama about a particular thing, you know.
You know, sometimes I find what's quite helpful for myself is when I experience a feeling or emotion that is making me uncomfortable, I separate from it and look at it as if it's a separate person, like a separate being almost. Say, let's go to anger or sadness or resentment, jealousy, anything like that. I separate it. So I'm almost looking at it like in the third person. And I it's a feeling, that's all it is. What's it doing? Does it pay your bills? Does it feed you? Does it talk? What is it? What is that? Powerful, what is that little thing that is controlling your state of mind right now? What is it?
And feelings, you're not your feelings, right? You feel different all the time.
Yeah, they're fluid. Exactly.
So your values, your experiences, and all these different things. Feelings will it's a roller coaster, up and down, different feeling. But
too often we allow ourselves, you know, or humans have the tendency to allow themselves to let those feelings control our choices. Like I said, if we relied on feelings to get everything done, hardly anything would be done. You have to do it regardless. Like I said, in training, you have to train regardless. If you feel pissed off, if you've had a bad day at work, don't rely on those things to get your session off. Have a good session anyway. Get in there, give 100%. You know, and you'll find those feelings will be gone anyway. So I just, you know, feelings are a massive one, but we are human, eh? We're given those, learn how to control.
So do you know one of the things? And you said you mentioned anger earlier, and you said it's a good emotion to have because it gives a drive. You know what's funny enough? It's something I've been missing for a long time. Like I don't necessarily get angry anymore like I used to. And back in the day, and I think maybe that's one of the reasons why I kind of stopped doing martial arts, is because it was the anger that was my main driving force. And it's just, you know, and I utilized as this great energy for me to get to where I want to get to. I used to love when people used to piss me off. I'm like, you know what, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you otherwise. And now because of that, I got to the point where it's like I'm more content. I'm a bit more peaceful. And it's like the anger doesn't come as often. But when it does, I'm like, welcome back. I love you.
And you're controlling. But that's exactly when you look at you have to have an element. It's passion. Anger can be passion. You're passionate about something. If you think about how something makes you feel when you're very passionate about it, it's very similar to when you're angry. You know, like in that way, it's a very raw feeling. And we're just told it's bad, lock it away, go and meditate it away, be quiet. And then inside that destroys you. Because if you're angry at somebody and you just want to shout, you want to vent, and you're told to keep it in, that's toxic. That's toxic to keep it in. Like I remember, you know, have you ever done a primal scream?
You know what? I haven't done it for ages, you know.
It's amazing. Just to release, because we're human and we're animals, And
you know what?
We need to release ourselves physically. That's why going on the pads, think about it. You've been pissed off. You have a good session on the bag of the pads. Afterwards, that was a relief.
Do you know what? I've done it in my car a couple of times.
Yeah.
I actually done one recently. I'll just be driving, and the best part is like I'm there by myself. And I'm just driving like you know, I just go like this.
It's brilliant.
But you know what? In a kind of like in a not frustrated way, but in a like excited, energized, powered up kind of way. I'm just like, let's get it kind of thing.
Look, when fighters, before they go into the ring, how many times do you see them just go like that, or slap their face, their coach slaps their face, you know, just to kind of, you know, release and charge them up. It's good, but we're told that it's bad. It's only bad, it's not as bad, but we're not shown how to handle it, you know. It's like we're not shown how to even, when you're upset, how do you channel when you want to cry? You know, when we're not taught how to. It's all we're told is you want to be happy. You want to. We're striving to be happy and for everything to be amazing. That's very unrealistic. We're not taught how to handle the other things that can interfere with our progress and our goals. And I think that's a shame. And I think that's something that, you know, lacks a lot. But you're in martial arts. You know, you go and do your pads or your sparring, and you get a chance to feel those raw emotions, and then you're getting a chance to control those raw emotions, because somebody kicks you, your first reaction is, well, hopefully block and counter and kick them back. But, you know, like if you feel that you're like, okay, I'm angry now, take a deep breath in, I'm just going to, you learn. So, and that, again, that's a process. But I think people who do some type of martial art are better off for it in the end. You know, overall outside. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I think I agree with you. I think it is good. I think the primal emotions are good, and some people might consider them bad, but whether they're good or bad, I think we have them regardless. Like, have you seen? There's a video of this guy being attacked by a wild bear, and he just starts screaming. He goes like, and he's just like, he went primal mode. He's not thinking logically. He's just thinking survival. He's like, and he's kicking. It's like, and he's going wild. Like he went back to Stone Age real quick. Actually, that's luckily he survived. But like, he went back to Stone Age real quick, and it happened in a matter of seconds. And the primal side has always been there. And it's always going to continue to be there. That's part of who we are. Yeah, it's not going nowhere. And being told to suppress it, I don't think is healthy. It's like, how many stress-related ailments do you hear about? Because, you know, it is, people are stressed out. And so whether they've held things in, they've held resentment, all those emotions have not actually dealt with them, addressed them, allowed them to surface and, you know, worked through them. They keep it in, and people they get sick with this stuff. Yeah. So yeah, it is very, very important. Yeah, but yeah, just to start closing it off, we've got 2 parts to touch on. Yes. So the first one is, so we have this like beautiful, nice small community here, all about personal development and just, you know, elevating themselves in life. So do you have anything you want to promote? So there's 2 things you can promote. So one is something that belongs to you, you know, might be coaching sessions, might be something else that you do. And the second one is something that might not necessarily belong to you. So it can be anything. It can be a book, can be, a movie, can be a person, whoever it is. So 2 things that you want to promote. Okay. I'm going to promote... There's a children's session, because I'm really about promoting also young people, you know, get them when they're young, you know, and getting them into martial arts. So at Tottenham... Muay Thai Masters, Muay Thai Masters. We after lockdown, obviously sport it affected a lot of gyms and sports, and we've just got our junior classes. We always used to have really big junior classes, and our ages are from 5 until 15 years old. We have the classes. Can I say the times or yeah. So we're in Tottenham Community Sports Centre, Muay Thai Masters Academy, and our juniors are on Sundays and Tuesdays. Sundays is from 12:15 until 1:15, and Tuesdays is from 6:30 till 7:30. And it's Muay Thai. So in the class, the ages are from 5 years old, as I said. You know, male and female, and bring the kids along. Yeah, some of the I've been there on Sundays before, and there's some of the best junior classes that I've seen. I think one of the most buzzing ones, anyways. Like, there's so many like young people that be there training and putting in work. So definitely. I mean, I've been really trying to push for some junior classes at White Beast too. Yeah. Because I think it's really important, you know. Prevention is better than cure, I agree. But young people nowadays, they're not like years ago you could go out and play on the street, now stuck on a computer. And I think those interpersonal skills are so important at such a young age, you know. And obviously there's a lot for older kids, teenagers, shall I say, but not for the really young ones. It's really, really important. Yeah. You know. And let me promote somebody. A book, series, something, anything. You know what? I'm gonna promote the series that I've just been watching. We're going to talk about anime. I'm so sorry. We are. No, why are you sorry for? I'm not sorry. I'm joking. Yeah, it's just one that I've still been watching. I'm still yet to finish. Berserk. And have you seen it? I haven't seen it. No, I know what it is. I haven't watched it. Yeah. And he's overcoming his inner demons. A lot of his I find about, and that's why I think watching. And I only started recently watching anime in lockdown. Like I said, prior to that, it was my son that he used to watch it when he was little. I said, what are you watching those cartoons for? Stop watching those cartoons. That's the thing, they're not cartoons. A lot of people didn't understand that. Yeah, and then when in lockdown, because we didn't have anything to do, he's watching, I'm like, I kind of had to, I didn't have to, but I sat there, I'm like, oh, I really like this. Wow, this is quite deep, this. So now I've been, and that it's one season, and actually the person who made it, he passed away before the episode finished. Wow. Yeah, and he's one of the best directors he's been known in
anime. So Zach, it does how we overpower. That's what I like about it, because I think we all, we're continually overpowering whatever that inner demon means to us, whatever that is. But we're always trying to battle with that. I don't think it's never a smooth. Once you feel good one day, you feel the best you've ever felt your whole life, doesn't guarantee that the next day you're going to feel that way. So we're forever, it's forever a battle. An inner battle, an external battle out there, it's always a battle.
Yeah, that's why this. I can confirm it hasn't stopped since I've been born. So definitely, here's the everyday thing. Yeah, battle with myself. So to close it off, when you get a chance to say something to 8 billion people. 8 billion? Yeah. What? Sounds like what? So technically the whole world's population. What would you want to tell them? Or what would you tell them?
Know that whatever is necessary in your life to do, you hold that power within you. So, it is within you.
And if you think it's not, that means you forgot that you have it. I'll add on to that.
Life is about finding out who you really are. You've got to remember who you are. I think we've forgotten, and all these external things like society, let's just say, I'm not even going to blame, say, social media, but everything is trying to take us away from our source, from who we are, and take our power away. You have to take your power back, but it is within you. And maybe right now you're not ready for that, Maybe in 50 years, maybe in a day, who knows? There's no time, but you have to keep striving to find that warrior that in you. But you have everything. We were born with those tools, spiritually, mentally, let's say physically, that's a bit different, but we were born with those tools, and over time they've been taken away from us. Remember when you were a kid, but we're always telling children, it's in your imagination, no, don't do that, Our power from a young age has been taken away, so we get to this and we're relying on everybody else.
That's powerful. I love that. That's powerful. But thanks for coming.
Thanks you, Lou, for having me.
I don't think you even finished your tea.
I didn't. It's gone cold now. I should have promoted my lotus flower tea, but
the tea's been amazing.
But Berserk, watch it, guys. Watch it.
And then after that, watch Psychopaths.
Yeah, we're gonna have to share a few of these. But thank you, Leo.
Cool. Thank you.
Bye, guys.